Hello folks, and welcome back to the Soup Empire here in Farming Simulator 25, here back on the farm. I am exactly where I left myself at the end of last episode, pondering whether the addition of these 5 enormous greenhouses to the farm was a mistake. They all take a few resources to produce anything, so they need compost and they need something else, herbicide, and although they can make a load of weird and wonderful stuff, I'm just wondering if they might work without the compost and the herbicide, but of course not, no. Material's missing, we've got the recipe down the bottom, even confirms it, look, 5 compost, 5 herbicide. Same with the strawberries, lettuce, it all needs. So in other words, in order to get these greenhouses to produce anything, I need to put in, as I discovered last time, £23,000 worth of goods, which, as you can see in the top right hand corner, we don't have £23,000. So we're going to do some experiments. What I want to do first of all is grab all of the veggies from this greenhouse, because we slept overnight tonight. We will sleep overnight tonight, but we slept overnight last night also. And it produced all this stuff for us. Now I want to go and sell this stuff. And I want to find out, via calculations, complicated calculations of course, whether these are financially viable for me. So we saw in the last episode that the greenhouse used approximately 1/3 of the materials that we gave it. So I put in £23,000 worth of materials. 1/3 of those materials is worth roughly £7,500, shall we say. The calculations don't need to be precise. I just need to know if I'm making a profit or not making a profit. So we're going to head into town. We're going to sell these. If we get more than £7,500, if we get appreciably more than £7,500 for one day's worth of produce, then I'm thinking this is probably worthwhile. However, if we make a loss or we make just a tiny percentage of profit, I'm beginning to think this may not be worthwhile. Now, of course, the end result of all of this is not to sell these veggies once we produce them. It's to supply the after user. It's to supply the canning factory in town, which we've purchased, and we will be using the vegetables to power that to produce our soup. If anybody saw the last episode, you'll know that we're going for a triple soup, which requires 5 ingredients. Okay, Mr. Red Car, you go first. All right. What is it doing? Are you just doing laps of the roundabout? I think you are, aren't you? You're just doing laps of the roundabout. Anyway, so we're going to send these veggies ultimately to the canning factory. And we know that when we convert raw materials into goods through a production, the extra profit we make is considerable. So if these vegetables, hope you're following my logic here, if these vegetables make a profit over and above £7,500, then we know the profits we're going to make from our canning factory will be worth it. Moment of truth. 10,700. It's decent, and some more stuff here to sell. Not dropping in the sell point for some reason. Can we not sell these here, maybe? Do we have to sell them somewhere else? Let's have a look. What is it? It's garlic, isn't it? Or enoki mushrooms, is it? Surely we can... It looks like we can sell it here. The Castilian fruit shop is where we're at. Maybe the burger joint would give us a little bit more money, but our enoki can certainly go in here. But as you can see on the main screen, it's still on the back of the truck for some reason, even though everything else sold. Maybe if we just drive in a bit further. No, taking the straps off. Okay, so that's another. That's good. That's another 6,600. So that pushes us to approximately £17,000 for that single night of production in one greenhouse. Now that's excellent, seeing as it used £7,500 worth of materials, but it makes £17,000 when we sell it, which is a £10,000 profit, give or take a few numbers here and there that I can't be bothered rounding off in my head. And we know for a fact in that case that when we start loading all of this produce into the canning factory instead of selling it straight at the shop, where it may not have even been the best price, by the way, we know that the canning factory is going to produce goods that are worth a lot more than that. So, I'm very pleased by that. That's the experiment over. Oh, that experiment at least. We've got another experiment that I want to do, and that is I want to load up another greenhouse with £23,000 worth of materials, and I want to run them both in parallel for one night and see that it covers the costs of the building maintenance, because I discovered last time, guys, that it's the canning factory that has suddenly pushed the building maintenance to nearly £25,000 a month. And I'm wondering, can two of these greenhouses cover that cost and cover the costs of running the greenhouses in the first place, and still possibly even make a profit? I don't know. We're going to see. We still intend to do peas. That's what I'm having a look at here. I'm just making sure that we don't need anything else other than peas to make canned peas. We're intending to do peas, we're intending to do carrots. I don't want to get caught out again by this canning factory, so I'm just checking through to make sure that the recipes are nice and simple. This one's a bit more complicated, needs some flour and eggs. That would obviously need a mill and chickens, so we won't be doing that one, at least at the start. Although I am thinking of getting some chickens, so maybe, who knows. But peas is what we're going to do. So we're going to do a field of peas, a field of carrots, and a field of potatoes. And they only need, they're the only things needed to make those goods. So just checking the calendar, peas we can do this month, we'll get onto that later. Potatoes we can do this month, we'll hopefully get onto that later as well. But for now, guys, I need to grab myself a tractor really, because I need to haul some bits and pieces over here to fill up the next greenhouse and perform the overnight experiment to see if it covers our costs. So let me just head up there, get sorted, and I'll join you guys again soon. Here we go, back home. One thing we've forgotten to do so far today, guys, is feed Ghost. I think he's had his food for March. I can't quite remember actually. However, he's a growing lad. Let's pop some food in his bowl and see if he's around. Been watching the series a little while, guys. You know that sometimes this dog is nowhere to be seen. There he is. Nice little paw slide, in he goes. Sometimes he's nowhere to be seen, and other times he just refuses to get out of the way of all of my heavy machinery. Yeah, he's unpredictable. Okay, so let's go over and park up the truck, and we're going to grab a tractor. Start hauling some stuff over to get the second greenhouse going, to get the experiment going. Okay. Just checking the horsepower on my tractors, and the horsepower needed on the planter. I think I want to get the planter going. Yeah, if we can find the Deutzwahl, there it is over in the corner. Let's get the planting going on the first of the pea fields. Or the only pea fields. We're doing peas, carrots, potatoes. Okay, so we'll drop the plough. Let's get the planter going on the pea field, which is going to be the middle of our fields. I think we're going to plant in terms of size, the middle size one is going to be the peas, the small one is going to be the carrots, because I've done the odd carrot harvesting contract in other playthroughs, and they are a nightmare. Can't quite get onto the linkage there. Okay. We're going to have to go get a little bit draconian on this planter to get it in an orientation that we can connect to it. Yeah, so I've done carrots a couple of times, and I swear every time I do carrots that I will never ever do carrots again, because they're a right old faff. Now potatoes are a faff enough, and I'm sure I've done a couple of potato contracts, I've done a couple of pea contracts, but oh boy, they're nothing compared to carrots. Or is it parsnips? The one where you get literally one parsnip at a time. Can't quite remember. Anyway, let's get the worker onto this, because I've got some experimentation to do. We basically want to get this field, we want to get all three of our fields sorted today. We can plant them all today, and that'll give us an earlier harvest to enable us to get the canning factory going. So we'll get on over to the field, and we'll get the worker on the job. just going to slow it down here for 1 second, guys. As you may have noticed, I didn't put a worker on the job. I decided to do this one myself. I'm not seeing fertiliser going in. Now, I've never planted peas before, so this might just be a pea thing. Pardon the expression. I mean, you guys tell me, do peas need fertiliser? Certainly not taking any. And we're just coming to the end of the field. Still haven't worked out the fertiliser situation. The field in the minimap in the lower left is bright red. There is no fertiliser been applied at all. But if you think I didn't judge the peas quite well, look at that. We're going to finish up with just 15 litres left. Marvellous. So that of course means we're going to need to refill this seeder, which we will do. Now I don't fancy backing this seeder in to the farm. We know we've got the hole in the wall in the farm. I don't fancy backing this seeder in and trying to fill it, because if any of you guys have seen the previous episodes, you know how much of a chore I find filling the implements or filling the machinery from the hole in the wall dispenser thing. So I think I'll probably just head down to the store, buy a couple of bags of seeds and just whack them straight in. So we need the van. And what we'll do, I did some clearing up on the map, guys, a couple of episodes ago. You may be aware, if you play this map, or if you seen any of the previous episodes where I've tried to send the driver down to the shop, you'll know that the driver crashes into trees that for some reason are now planted in the middle of the road. Now I think that's the map update that's maybe gone a little bit wrong, but we haven't had an update to fix that, so do you know, I took matters into my own hands. I went and bought a mulcher and made a farcical attempt to clear the trees. But I think I cleared enough that we can get the worker down here, or get the worker down to the store. But we're about to find out, because we're about to send them down to get some seeds for us. In case you wonder what I'm doing here, I'm removing foliage from the yard. I am very slowly tidying up the yard. When we bought the farm and first moved in, way back in August of last year, the farmyard was all overgrown. It's still very much overgrown, as you can see, but I decided to make a bit of an effort to tidy the place up. There's no point in buying a wood processing facility like a saw pit or something, or a sawmill for these. They're barely any wood, so I'm literally just chucking them off to one side. Who knows, one day I may buy some wood processing and we can chuck them all in. I think I mentioned a couple of episodes ago, it'd be nice to be able to have bonfires in the game, where you could just chuck your wood on the bonfire and say goodbye to it that way. So this is a bit slow, isn't it, guys? I'm basically just picking up branches and moving them. So let's just speed through this and we'll get down to the shop. Okay, a little bit of tidying up later, and there goes the driver. Let's see how they get on. I think it'll be okay. I think I've mulched my way through most of the trees and foliage and bits and bobs that were stopping it from working last time. Anyway, let's get on with our next task. So we'll check on our guy in a minute, see if he's managed to make it down to the store in one piece without crashing into a tree or two. The eagle-eyed amongst you will notice that I removed the offending trees that were growing out of the concrete, because not only were they growing out of the concrete, oh look, that didn't take long. Excellent, right. So the fix on the trees appears to have worked. Apologies for the quick subject change there, guys. We'll come back to what we're doing at the production facility in a hot minute. For now, we're just going to get into the store, we're going to buy some seeds, and we'll send the worker back on his way. We don't need to go to the repair, no, let's not go there. Alright, here we go, we're at the store. I apologise for the jumpy menu on the store. I don't know if you guys get that. Whenever I first load the menu and scroll, it's quite jumpy. Once I've scrolled all the way down and back up again, it's never jumpy again, so I'll make sure that I do that before opening that particular menu for the next video, guys. So, a couple of these big pallets of seeds. We do have a little bit of money in the bank from the sale of the produce earlier on. We come out the other side of the store, which we always do. You go in one end and it's like a conveyor belt. You buy what you need, and you have to go out the other way. Alright, let's load up these seeds. Set the man back on his way, or woman. We get women drivers in the game as well. Set them back on their way, and we'll head back over to our tractor, where we are going to take care of populating the second greenhouse. Just making sure we go to the right spot, the silo. Now, we know from previous episodes this is probably going to crash into the greenhouse in the farmyard, but we'll see how that goes. Alright, so I think the first thing we'll deal with to fill up the second of the greenhouses is the herbicide. So last time we bought this beautiful lizard trailer, coloured it red. It actually matches our tractor, which is completely unintentional. I only coloured it red because it would be carrying herbicide, which is maybe hazardous. I don't know, not entirely sure whether herbicide is hazardous. Certainly hazardous to weeds. And I think I made that rather lame, poor joke last time. Anyway, we're going to head up. Just as a reminder, we've got the hole in the wall where we can buy pretty much whatever we want, and we can load it up from our storage facility, I guess you could call it, in the farmyard just here. There's Ghost just over there, playing in the field, or just on the road. Don't play on the road, guy. Come on. All right. Now, you guys all know it's a little bit hit and miss, as you can see, mostly hit as we collide with that thing again. Whereabouts we actually load this thing up. I'm pretty sure it's back here, and I'm making a right old pig's ear of this. This is one of those dolly trailer things. If anybody knows how to reverse a dolly trailer, please comment down below, because I just can't do it. I actually installed a mod, which I think I'm going to make use of in a little bit, where it fixes the axle on a dolly trailer. Okay, so there's the 13,000 for the herbicide. Remember, guys, this is an expensive operation, and we need to make sure that it can pay for itself, and then some. Yeah, it fixes the what do you call it? The dolly. It fixes it in place so that it acts like any other normal trailer and doesn't do that basically. I don't want it to do that. Let's get round here and see if we can reverse it in. I think you have to reverse the opposite way to a normal. No, okay, maybe not. I'm constantly pressing R at this point, guys, just to see if it can hit the trigger points, hit the sell points. This tree's in our way, it's got to go. As I mentioned, we are tidying up as we go. I'm going to sneak a little bit to super strengthen here, guys, just to get this tree shifted. I'm not going to make you guys sit and watch me chop it up into little pieces and hide it around the corner just here. But there we go. This is like a dumping ground for our extra trees. Now this one would be worth putting in a sawmill, in all fairness. It's a decent size. Silver birch, I think, if you judge by the bark on the tree. Okay, so now that that tree's out of the way, let's see if we can reverse in and get this herbicide. Because it's not on that trigger point. You'd think it'd be on a little trigger point with an arrow pointing down into a wagon. You'd think it'd be on there, but it isn't. So whilst this thing is super convenient, it means I don't have to go anywhere to buy bits and pieces such as lime, fertiliser, herbicide, seeds even, compost, as we're going to find out in a minute. it's just awkward finding the right little spot to get our goods. All right, so we're trying a nice angle here. Pressing R, pressing R, pressing R, pressing R. Press it. There we go. Finally, I'm really gonna have to figure out where these things are and remember for next time. All right, guys, I'm gonna fill up, head back down, and I'll see you back down at the productions. And here we are, guys, at the productions with the herbicide. Now, you may have noticed during the time lapse there, if you watched through it, a lot of faffing about when I delivered the seeds to the planter. And the reason for said faffing about is because I wanted to plant carrots in the smaller of the two fields, and yet when I came to select the carrots from the list of available options with the seeds, they weren't an option. So a lot of faffing around later, which I thought I'd leave in, just so you guys can watch me just messing about and trying to figure things out. You need a special planter for carrots, of course you do. You need a special planter for potatoes as well, but I was kind of aware of that from the last time when I looked at potatoes. That tree's got to go. But you also need a special planter for carrots, which is interesting. So, quick on-the-fly decision, decided to stick peas in the other field as well. The main reason is the cash flow at the moment. We don't have any, and I'm going to have to hire a potato planter and buy potatoes to seed the potato field, which I'm thinking we're going to do tomorrow, because we can still plant potatoes in April, so that's okay. Now, where does this herbicide go? Not there. Okay. So we're going to skip carrots this year, guys. Hopefully by next year, when it comes to carrot planting time, we'll have a bit of cash flow, knocking the tractor again, crashing the thing. We'll have a little bit of cash flow this time next year, and we will be able to afford or lease a carrot planter. So we will get into the carrot at some point, guys. But for now, we're not gonna do that. We've got 2 fields of peas, and we'll do some potatoes, probably in the next episode. So that's the herbicide in. That was £13,000 worth of goods. And remember, they use 1/3 of these goods every night, so that's going to last 3 months in there. Now we just need the compost, and it's the same procedure, guys. We're going to head up to the farm, fill up with compost, pop back down to the productions, and I'll join you when we are back here very, very shortly. So that was actually about 10 minutes of effort, guys. Getting the compost, decided to tidy up the yard a little bit more. I didn't leave that cut in because I bought the compost and then I forgot to fill the trailer, and I was halfway back here with an empty trailer before I realised that I'd actually forgot to put the compost in the back of the trailer. Genius. Anyway, here we go. So we're filling up the compost. This was £10,000 worth of goods. So far into this, we have plugged in £23,000 worth of raw materials. You don't need seeds or any fertiliser like you do with some gardens and things like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to activate the same 5 productions that we've got going on with the other one, which I think was it lettuce? Lettuce, maybe? It certainly was tomatoes. Do you know, I can't remember. It was garlic. All of these, I'm just looking through actually. In the traditional greenhouse, this is a modded one that comes with the map. The lettuce takes more cycles to make than the tomatoes. So you get more tomatoes out, but they're worth less. I'm just checking the prices. Yeah, they seem to be similar. £4,500, £4,500, 370 litres, 368, 4,500, 4,800 tomatoes, but there's a few more. Waste? I'll have to look into that at some point. Not worth much, but oh well, £7,500 worth of waste. Interesting. Okay, we'll look into that some other time. So it seems that even though the lettuce, which is normally the go-to crop in a normal greenhouse, where it makes more money than any other, it doesn't really matter here, I don't think, because they're all worth about the same and they all use the same number of cycles. Let me just check what we've got going on over here. Bell peppers, deactivated bell peppers. Okay. I noticed some pallets on the way in, or some boxes of vegetables. Let's set these to sell. I don't want to have to make a trip every day to sell these, although it probably makes more money. It obviously takes quite a bit more time. So we're just popping these all onto selling, so we won't make any more pallets. We'll keep those pallets that are there. We'll obviously we can put those in the canning factory when we're ready to go, or sell them if we need a quick injection of cash. Maybe this is where the waste comes out. Interesting. £7,500 worth of waste there that we could make use of. All right. Okay. So that's the two greenhouses now set up. I just wonder, can I get the waste out of there and into this trailer? No, can't pick anything up there, so that's probably not the waste, or it might be the waste, it just doesn't go in this container. Let's have a little go around the front. No, I'm not getting a little fill icon, but then again I'm not actually in a little fill space, am I? No. Maybe need another type of container. But there's potentially a small gold mine there, guys. One night of production produced £7,500 of waste. Interesting. Hadn't noticed that at first. That could be another nice little route to a production, to making money. All right, interesting. Okay. So coming towards the end of the episode, guys. What I'm going to do is going to go and check on the finances, see what we've got. Okay, yeah, we made 20,000 in sold products this month. Well, actually, we're turning a profit so far. I think that's even. Well, the property maintenance hasn't come out yet. Okay. If you look at our balance, it's 6,500. Oh dear. This may still not be profitable. I'm not entirely sure. I'm genuinely thinking of selling the harvester to finance this. We're not going to need the combine harvester anymore, or at least not for the foreseeable future, because we're not doing any combinable crops. How much is it worth? 62,000. Well, no, I think I'll hang on to it. I am contemplating selling it, but I think I'll hang on to it in case we decide to go back to arable crops in addition to the vegetable ones. We haven't bought a new field for a while, so maybe we might need a field of arable. If we do chickens, for example, as mentioned earlier in the episode, and pondering it, we'll probably need a field of some sort of corn or wheat or something that we can feed to them. Interesting. Right, so now I'm still a bit concerned. Bit concerned because we've got 6,500 in the bank, and we know 25,000 in property maintenance is going to come out, and that's going to put us massively in debt. But we do, however, have two of those greenhouses fully functional and producing for us overnight at the cost of what will be £14,000, £15,000, 7,500 in each per day. So £15,000 plus the 25,000 for the property maintenance is 40,000. So I think I'll just finish up planting these peas, because the workers tend to be just a tiny little bit slower. And then once this is done, we'll do a little experiment. We'll sleep for the night, wake up tomorrow and see how much money we've got. And if we're positive, is this working? Yeah, it is. Yeah. We've got peas growing. And if we're positive, then happy days. If we're very positive, even happier days. But we won't know until tomorrow morning. So let me finish this up, guys, and I will see you back at the farm once we're done. Alright, that's both fields planted with peas, and they're growing, they're good to go. I've been working on my reversing skills, guys. Let's see how this goes. Looking good. It wants to refill on that random fertiliser we've got there, which I believe we've had there since episode 1, when I bought solid fertiliser for a liquid fertiliser spreader. Forgot about that little gaff. Hey, that's not too bad. That's nice and straight. Let's park the tractor and we'll wrap things up, guys. We do need to do the evening experiment. I do want to go to sleep for the night. So let's head on over. Oh, there's the dog. Here's a ghost. Good boy. Come here. Do you want a tickle? Come here. There you go. Good boy. He's not often in the yard, but sometimes he is. So I do want to do the little sleeping thing to see where we're at tomorrow. I can see, however, if you look over in the top right hand corner, guys, we have jumped from 6,000 to 10,000. Every time you go over an hour, in this case 12 o'clock in Farm Sim, if you've got productions that are selling, they will sell on the hour. Now that is very, very promising, guys. That means we are looking at potentially a small gold mine here, because that is £4,000 every hour. Now, bearing in mind, each greenhouse takes £23,000 worth of stuff, £46,000 for the two. That's only 12 hours. 12 hours to pay for those materials for 3 months. Now, I might have my maths completely wrong here, guys, but I'm thinking that when we do eventually do our little experiment and go to sleep here, we are going to be pleasantly surprised with the outcome. I predict that we are going to be in a little bit of profit. I think we'll have been able to pay for the maintenance of the canning factory and the rest of the buildings that we own, and I think we're going to turn out in a little bit of profit. Anyway, let's find out. Let's get this tractor cleaned off. We'll go to sleep and we'll wake up tomorrow morning, and I will show you the results of the experiment. Well, good morning everybody, and look at the bank balance, £30,803. Very, very happy with that. That says to me that even with the high overheads that we have in production materials and building maintenance, we are producing enough that this is going to be initially quite profitable, and ultimately, when we start piling things into the canning factory, very profitable. I'd like to thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed it and made it this far, a like would be really appreciated, and also a subscribe. It's totally free. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.